Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Always Be Testing podcast. I'm your host, Tye DeGrange, and I'm really excited to talk to Erica Yoon today. Erica, how you doing?
Good. I am feeling so much better. The Bay Area finally has sunshine.
It is so nice when it has its sunshine, and I believe you had a abnormally cool summer. Is that right?
Oh yeah, coldest summer in like 20, no, 80 years?
Wow,
Something
that's
like that.
crazy.
I made that up.
I, I mean, I think you might be right. I got to visit in around July 4th, and it was definitely cool. Um, definitely cooler in Texas this summer. Surprisingly, shocker.
Hmm.
It's catching up now. Now we're getting into the hundreds, but we're making do. So
Oof.
glad you guys are getting some warmth out there.
Yeah, you can keep your triple digits, Ty.
If you need your sunshine, just let me know. I got you.
Sounds good.
Um, Erica is an amazing marketer, a veteran of the industry. She's currently leading marketing at BuildOps. It is the operating system built specifically for commercial contractors to get things done. Super interesting company, and Erica's got some really good knowledge to share, and just always a pleasure talking to her. So I think you guys are going to get a lot out of today. What are you working on right now? What's the latest and greatest, Erica?
Yeah. I think interesting enough, like trying to move marketing out of just acquisition demand gen and trickle it across more aspects of the customer journey. Yeah, it's like most startups, the marketing hire that you start with, or like the marketing core, is really like how we know each other, right? Our bread and butter of like performance based marketing, digital
Yep.
marketing, so many different names and acronyms that have come before it.
Hmm.
But now it's really like more about the time of like how do you drive a broader scale, whether that means like getting to a bigger top of funnel awareness play, all the way through to how do you start partnering with product to really bring a strong story to life about how your platform drives value, and then even fun things like customer advocacy that we've just hired for. So really exciting time.
That's awesome. It sounds like it, it sounds like a really powerful like maturation of how you're thinking about marketing and how the business is thinking about marketing. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think that's right. I'd say the business as a whole too is not just marketing, but like any high growth startup, you get like really good at focused functions, and it's really fun to kind of see everyone collectively pop up, like kind of look across the aisle and figure out, well, how do we start collaborating together and working cross functionally rather than just running really, really hard at like that specific part of the goal that you're going after.
Yeah, that's really fascinating. And are you kind of seeing that develop with product? I know you referenced that earlier. Is that a big part of that lift and kind of cross coordinating more?
Yeah. It's kind of fun. We're getting from a place where the product team obviously laser focused on shipping things out, getting things out the door, but now like partnering with that team to understand like how do we start telling a story around not just the laundry list of features that we've shipped, and it is pretty significant laundry list, and more around, well, how do we make sure that we're telling people like the value behind it, the why, and even start painting like broader pictures of like what is the product vision for the next 2 years. Like our CTO is like a really cool um, like near term goal to get us to this place where we're really driving overall value. And it's interesting to see how that comes to life for an industry that has been historically like a little bit of a laggard when it comes to just
Yeah,
adopting technology.
I love it. I just love like the old school blue collar businesses that figure out tech and adopt tech in an innovative, positive way. And so I think that's makes for a really exciting opportunity to kind of like either leverage things that you haven't been able to in the past in a big business and a big industry like home improvement. I mean, this is a massive industry that serves so many people and affects so many of us. Homeowners, everyone who's dealing with any of these things, with most of us are to kind of paint the picture for people. what are kind of those ideal customers for BuildOps, for those that are maybe curious to learn more about the business and just wrapping the head around the marketing product challenges that you're dealing with?
Yeah, so just a quick clarification. This is an important one. BuildOps actually is specifically for commercial contractors. And it's actually interesting because when you think about when you're serving a customer that's B2C versus B2B, there's like a pretty distinct difference. But like that's still core shared value of like the trades needing to see very tangible and real things. So to your point, Ty, like that scrappiness is there. Like if something
Yeah.
doesn't work, MacGyver it, right? Duct tape, paper clip, figure out how to make it make it work. And I feel like our customer and ICP is that. They're all grit. They're looking for tangible, something real. Like they literally do things with their hands every day. And so if your software can't deliver real results, like they will be the first to tell you and very directly tell you. And I appreciate that because I'm not great at reading between the lines. But I think that's, again, like kind of why it's an interesting space because there hasn't been anything built for specifically for trades for a long time, let alone commercial trades where the work is a little bit different. And I realize like I'm playing a little bit or speaking a little bit insider baseball. So to kind of break it down, when you think about a contractor that you might call, like let's say your AC goes out and you need somebody to like
That
come fix it.
happened.
Yeah.
Thank God, not
Triple
recently.
digits, Ty.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, glad to see you're not sweating now. But it
Yeah.
was,
So right
yeah,
now I'm good.
you had a good contractor.
Yeah. 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 We did have to call
Um,
him back, but that's another story. I'll
That's
reach
actually
out.
like an interesting story, I think. And it's like maybe that becomes your guy, right? But like that guy is talking to you. You are the homeowner. You're the guy that also like needs to make sure the AC is running. But if you think about a commercial building, that's not necessarily true. The guy that owns the building might not be the one that needs the AC to keep running. Um, and if you think about the different types of commercial buildings there are, it gets really complicated, right? Let's say hospital, probably one of the most complicated things that you need very precise AC for.
Yeah.
Not only is the building bigger, not only are there more units, there's more people in the picture, it becomes so much more complicated. And so think about it from like a CRM, like relationship management perspective, like that B2C versus B2B difference is huge. And so it's almost like how I react when somebody's like, "Oh, you like to rollerblade?" I'm like, "No, I like to roller skate." And so when someone's like, "Oh, you guys are working with contractors?" I'm like, "Yes, but the commercial ones." And so our ICP is pretty varied, right? Like we have mom and pop shops that are maybe smaller, like 50-ish folks, including everyone that they send out to the field, all the way up to like PE backed firms that have like multiple operational
Yeah.
shops across different state lines. So it's a pretty wide range. But in general, at the core, you actually hit on it. They're scrappy. They need to see tangible value. And it actually keeps our product very focused on making sure we're building something that people actually use.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating. We've had such some really interesting learnings in B2B and um, in SaaS, and I think those are really exciting business models. I think from my perspective, we've even this year in particular, we've seen a massive amount of guests and learnings on the pod around the topic. So it's just great to hear, your perspective. We both had such a good consumer and B2B journey, and I think
Yeah.
B2B is a really exciting time. I just got out of a B2B conference on the partner marketing opportunity, and it's just so much happening there. So it's fun to hear paint the picture of who those buyers are to understand and put ourselves in their shoes a little bit. And I know that's a big piece of your focus, I'm sure, with marketing and product, and certainly with leading out marketing and doing so much cross functional work at the organization.
Yeah, I think definitely everything is kind of rooted in the sense of like, I don't know, people were calling it like B to B to C for a while and just throwing all the letters in there. But I do think there's something real about, like you just said, like rooting it in the customer. Actually, our head of content marketing says something that I think about all day, every day, because it's so funny. He said, "We are the donkey, and our customer is Shrek. Like we we are not at the center of the journey. We need to
Yeah, I
make
like
sure
that.
that it's their movie. They're the main character, and we need to make sure that like what we do is like talking about the value we give to them, not just the feature, right? To go back to kind of like the product conversation. It's
Yeah.
about them. It's not about us. Because if there's no them, there is no us.
Yeah. Same for me, same for so many of the brands we work with. I love that thinking. That's a really great reminder.
Yeah.
And definitely have some recent Shrek experiences with my kids being obsessed with it and wanting to listen to the soundtrack at odd hours. So I get it.
I once made my husband stay at talk about triple digit weather at the California State Fair for like 5 extra hours after all our friends left because I had to see Smash Mouth.
I'm gonna have to remind you of that one. That's amazing. That's there- yeah,
Worth it.
it's a throwback.
Worth every drop of sweat and every annoyed sigh I encountered
Oh
from my
man,
husband throughout the
you
day.
gotta just embrace it. Did you stay for Hey Now You're an All Star,
Oh
or what
my
was your
god.
favorite hit?
Yeah, that one. It's like it's it. How could you not? How could you not want to hear that you're an all star? He made a point to say it was for all the ladies, so you know.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Oh man, Smash Mouth. Okay. I don't know how I can bring it back from that, but I'm gonna
I don't
try.
know either.
That's amazing. Speaking of excitement about Smash Mouth, what are you excited about right now?
Oh my god, kudos to you. That was very smooth, very smooth. I like everyone super jazzed about AI. I feel like I've unlocked some pretty interesting ways to use it. I recently took a class from this woman, Martina Luchenko. She's like a pretty big established PMM who's been around and really knows her stuff. And she the way that she explained how to use AI I thought was helpful. So happy to share. But I'm translating. I'm paraphrasing.
No, I love it.
I almost see the way that I've adopted her method is like one. I feel like it's a little bit like SQL, right? Like you have to tell, like, give it a data source, tell what parts of the data to pull, organize it the way you want. But then the other half of it is a little bit of like stage direction or like play acting. So you
Yeah,
like maybe you pretend like you're a D&D dungeon master and you like really paint the picture of like where are you trying to be, who are you trying to talk to, who should you try to embody when you're trying to put the message out. And then obviously like the first pass is never enough, right? Like make sure that you're always using it to refine it, and it should be supplemental, not a replacement. And just really trying to think about like how I critically use it, because again, like as our product advances, we're trying to think of how we bring AI to life in a way that feels, again, going back to the ICP, delivering actual tangible value.
yeah,
And it's an interesting jump because not a lot of shops anymore, but some shops are still coming off of like pen and paper. One of the customers that first signed with us after I started retired a dot matrix printer. Um, and so it's like
wow,
you're trying to bring AI to an audience that's like, wait, like this is like, let's make sure just like the fundamentals are working. Like you need to make sure that AI is substance and not flash.
yeah,
Um, and I think I maybe have lost the plot a bit, but I think in general, the intention is to say like, use it thoughtfully and think about the output you want to have in order to make
yeah,
sure that like what you're guiding and working
yeah.
with the AI to produce actually makes sense.
Love it. Great advice. Question is the dot matrix printer older than the '90s hip hop we were referencing earlier, or is it?
That's a good
I
question. I feel like
think it
this laser. When did LaserJet produce it? When did
overlap. A
HP?
little
Yeah,
overlap. Yeah.
yeah. I
I
think
think
this is an
some
overlap.
'90s hip hop outlasted the dot matrix. Others maybe not so much. um,
Yeah, there's definitely a
I
variety.
I mean, you're spot on the AI thing. I mean, it's like I feel like it's consuming. You know, I always loved the software eating the world topic conversation. It's part of what BuildOps is,
Yeah,
and representing, and part of what we're all part of. Whether we like it or not to some extent. And I think that AI is that next step of that. I was talking to someone recently where I shared that feels like we're somewhat, obviously this individual you're referencing has a little bit deeper knowledge. Some of us are in there and doing it and have had longer reps and timelines on it. But
yeah,
for the most part, especially when you talk about hey, have you tried ChatGPT 5? And it's like, yeah, that just dropped like 2, 3 days ago or whatever. So no, I haven't tried it, but um, at least to my knowledge, we're kind of all jumping into the water at the same time with
Yeah.
a very similar amount of experience and, you know, different experiences, different training, different perspectives going in. But I like the way you're thinking about. Thank you for painting the picture from your perspective of what you learned on it. And I think it's I think it can be scary, but I think for the most part, I'm finding people like us who are a little more, able to access it. It's really exciting as well.
Yeah. I mean, can I like turntables you and ask like how are you using it?
Yeah. Wow. I mean, we've done contests on our team to just like enable and support people's ability to come up with creative, novel ways to integrate it into our workflows. We rolled out a tool that we think is a legitimate, AI use case. We've got public tools, we've got our partner database, but basically a better way to matchmake partners
Oh,
using
very cool.
data and AI. So that's super exciting. Um, I think a lot more is going to come, especially clients are just coming out of the woodwork, and I think the entirety of our world is sort of saying, how is it apply and what are we going to do about it? I think partner marketing to an extent there's going to be a number of partners hit, but I think as you know all too well, they tend to innovate quite well. And I think
Yeah.
we're already seeing multiple experts in the data support that it can actually, be part of the answer to help as part of your SEO, as part of your technology, as part of your content marketing playbook. So I think there is an exciting opportunity around it for our world specifically. Um, but we absolutely have a long, long way to go.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I always think it's so interesting how partner marketing, affiliate marketing back in my day,
Yeah, yeah.
is like often the first to adopt something new. I remember like data feeds were like the hottest thing, and maybe that dates me, but and then next thing you know, like maybe 5, 7 years later, Google comes out with shopping. So it's like it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see how partner marketing reacts to AI as a whole and how it's incorporated in the overall ecosystem.
I love that. I definitely think they're the innovators. They're often some of the leading edge innovators, and I've talked to some amazing marketers and marketing leaders who've not even been affiliate or partner marketing specific say that they're some of the better marketers out there because they're having to be on that cutting edge and kind of always be testing something new and launching something. So I think you're onto it.
Hey, just worked the title of the podcast in.
Had to do it. Had to do it.
Love
Guilty
it.
as
Love it. Love
charged.
it. Yeah.
Guilty as charged. Um, Give us a little spicy take here. What's something that good old marketers get wrong?
Yeah, I think this is so easy to do, but activity is not impact. I'm guilty of it. I think everyone else is guilty of it. But it's really like how do you step back and think about like how to center the customer? How do you how do you smash mouth Shrek, right? Like make sure that you're keeping that top front and center to help drive priorities. But it's easy to get lost in that. I yeah, I think that like a good reset for me is like when I feel like there's a never ending to-do list. And honestly, like getting an accountability buddy internally to be like, hey, like let's whether that's your manager or your peer, whoever,
Hmm.
but like making
Yeah,
sure that you're really holding yourself true to like what is going to be an actual um, like lever mover, right? And like what's the best for the customer? Because yeah,
yeah.
you could ship all those things, but how many of them actually matter?
I love it. I did a fun talk in New York last week, and it was a good one. And I kind of gave a shout out to my dad's like cowboy ethos, and one of the things literally he would say all the time was like, don't mistake motion for progress, and
Yeah.
it's an Erica call out too. Now, what do you know? Amazing. You're in good company.
That's awesome. That's a good one. I'm gonna have to like put that on my desk. That's a really good one. Not motion.
Yeah,
Don't
I
mistake
like that
motion for
reminder.
progress.
It's amazing how we get caught up in that. So,
Yeah.
are there no, that's awesome, and I think it's a good experience. Um, you've had a lot of good experiences, Reddit one of them. Um, they're definitely heating up with all the fun stuff happening now. What was there some learnings? Definitely part of the pod's ethos, like
Yeah.
learnings that you had from that Reddit experience that you want to share.
Oh man. Yeah, I have a couple. I think I'll maybe share like from like my personal perspective,
Yeah,
like a personal career perspective, and then maybe from like a general observation.
yeah,
Talk about the 90s. I think
I like that.
the the dream of the
We're
going
bringing it
back to
back
the
to the
90s, we're just going to
'90s.
stay in the 90s. This is the golden age, really. But I think that was the golden age of the internet, right? Like towards the tail end of the 90s, early 2000s. Like it was such a weird, like the Space Jam website, like that quirkiness and the ability to just connect with people and nerd out because you're connecting with people, like that is still is alive on Reddit, right? Like the last vestige of silly internet is alive on Reddit, and I think there's something very cool about that. And I really, really obviously got submerged in that while I was there. Casual user, lurker, maybe upvote here and there, but became more of like a commenter and even a poster, which is sometimes a little bit intimidating. From like
That's an
a
impressive journey right there.
yeah, yeah, that's actually the funnels of like how they try to move people
Yeah,
from like a
yeah.
user
You
journey
converted
perspective. Yeah, I hit all the milestones.
going back to Dungeons and Dragons. You became like the lord of Reddit.
That's right. High sage. I actually don't play D&D, but I don't know, pretend to.
I pretended to
um,
when I was a kid a couple times and didn't take, but I wanted to be into it.
same. I just feel like it takes a lot of time.
Yeah, yeah.
um, but yeah, I can talk some of the talk. The career thing I learned at Reddit is I don't like systems ops. like yeah, like from like the like technical like, hey, what's our cookie compliance look like? Oh man, I don't know. Can they just be there?
You
like
and me, you and me might share that one. I'm a Homer Simpson on that.
yeah, like 100%. Oh, like, oh man, someone else, man, the cookies, just let me track people, please. I just want to
Uh,
stock at scale. I don't want to have to build that part. So that's what I learned about myself. I could do it if I have to, but oh man, I'm gonna need a lot of really good music, maybe some 90s hip hop,
yeah, yeah.
to get me through it, for
Maybe
sure.
maybe some caffeine or other things to get me through.
Exactly right.
Um, I feel
Um,
it. That's a real. I like that. Another
yeah.
good learning.
The last one I'll say before I wrap up my Reddit time is I think I can be a cult leader if I wanted to. I've always wanted to be a cult leader. What I mean by that is we were doing something really hard when I joined Reddit. It was just a sales based growth motion. Well, sales led growth. And so I was brought on board to try to build out the product led growth arm. And it was really hard. It's really hard to show up and say, hey guys, I know that your top level KPI is revenue. Can we look at maybe active advertisers, like this other right set metric that's like kind of opposite of what you care about? And the team we built around it really believed in that mission to the point where like I would be like, hey, here's a side quest someone needs us to support them on. Can we do it? And they would opt in. And I think that there's something very powerful about giving people something to believe in and watching them rally around them, like rally themselves around it. And so, yeah, I think maybe when I retire from marketing, I'll become a cult leader.
I mean, that's awesome. That's so cool. I think that there's not. It's a cool learning to kind of go through that progression from different perspectives, and it's a cool thing to learn about yourself. And you go through those trials and challenges, and I'm not surprised, but I think it's a cool trait to have, and not an easy one, especially when you have incentives that are maybe not aligned or structural things that need to change, and so you kind of have to get through a period for people. That's not easy. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
cool.
I would say that it's probably a common thread of what I see, what I did there versus what I'm doing now is again this kind of idea around like how do you create a secondary KPI, like top level KPI to rally people outside of what their core thing is, And then how do you get them to be excited about trying to do something that's outside of their day to day and something that
Yeah.
they might either be doing really well or like are already like maybe almost at full capacity, just trying to like execute against.
Yeah. Yeah, there are some ways where you might, maybe you've been able to do it, or you've maybe would coach someone how to do it, where
Yeah.
there is that ambiguity or there is that conflict of KPIs, if you will. Um, I'm kind of coming up with some thoughts in my head around how, you might think about that for people and maybe how you might have done it. But I'm curious to know
Yeah.
how you've maybe approached that challenge or how you might coach someone to approach that challenge.
Yeah, well, I would love to compare notes, Ty, because I feel like you almost have to flex into different ways to do that with different people, right? Everyone's motivated a little bit differently.
Hmm. Hmm.
The tack that I found that is good is one, center the customer, right? Like reinforce that if you're doing it for the best interest of the customer, it's
Yeah.
ultimately going to be the best for the business. Like I had a company I worked at where it's just like acquisition. We just need acquisition. Like just get
Yeah.
people to download the mobile
Yeah.
app. And it's like,
Yeah.
cool, what do they do in a week? Like
Yeah. Yeah. Then what happens?
then what?
So
Yeah, so it's like centered around
I've
like what
never
you
seen that before. Just
no,
kidding.
weird. Who does that? Just one
Yeah.
goal? Just the one?
Yeah.
Um and so like how do you make sure that you're like grounding it in like what the person that's using it is going to feel, and then go back to like what is going to motivate the person that you're talking to. Is it around this like altruistic goal, like my cult leader vibes, or is it around like the opportunity they have to press into something that they might want to develop in terms of a skill set? So I think it's about like understanding like what is a way that you can track and measure value. What is a way that you can make sure you're speaking to what that individual person wants to see and wants to be able to embrace, and then um, setting the expectation. Sometimes you got to chop a little bit of wood, but like if you chop that wood right, you might get this ability to like go dream. And like, what's a good way to extend this analogy? Build a forest around a swamp for Shrek. I don't know. That's a callback.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's truck it out.
Yeah.
I'm picturing you chopping wood on the McCollum River or something. It feels really. I get it. I'm with you.
Painting
I'm
a
ready to
picture.
help.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Ty, what have you found that works well?
Good question. I mean, you nailed it with the customer piece. I think that it sounds obvious. It sounds maybe a little cliche, but that's what the business is centered around. That's the reason for being, like you referenced earlier. So if people can see that this alternative KPI is going to add value long term,
Yeah.
and we're not thinking only month over month, only quarter over quarter, which unfortunately a lot of businesses are set up for. We've tried in a big way. I think I've maybe over indexed on this in some ways, and our team's done a really good job of this, of thinking longer term.
Yeah.
Easier said than done, and I'm even trying to get better at that as it is. But I think center it back to that customer need and those ICPs and those pain points that they have, and measuring that over time and bringing that back to people and kind of showing the value of like, hey, if we're looking at this second KPI, I think that's really powerful. So I think you absolutely hit it out of the park with that. I don't know what else I can drive home there on the thought. I think you're right though. There's sometimes different stories for different um, individuals, and you have to frame it in terms of those things, in terms of their needs. But also, having a genuine, real plan and excitement around something is sometimes can be contagious. A little bit of that cult leader following or Pied Piper, if you will. It's like that motivation and passion and excitement can be contagious, and so
I mean, your fist
yeah,
bumps are getting me pumped up. So
uh,
right back at you.
more,
Yeah.
more fist bumps.
Yeah.
Link in the comments. No, thank you. We're gonna do more of them. So,
Love it.
uh, we kind of touched on, the BuildOps customer. It's like obviously a very, you don't associate it with digital. We've
Yeah.
talked about a bit of it already. Are there other kind of pieces that you're learning from that, from those segments, or how are you how are you kind of thinking about that customer and maybe
Yeah.
different segments, and how is it kind of informing your heading up of marketing and improving
Yeah.
marketing and product?
I can call it a very specific place where it feels particularly interesting on the intersection of marketing and product. Like we talked about
Love
how
it.
there's like they're very practical people, like salt of the earth, right? Like high stakes, like no frills, like just trying to get the job done. And so a lot of times when they provide feedback, it's very much like here's a prescriptive thing of like a feature or a specific thing I want to see in the product come to life. And I know that's not just us. Like no one's
Yeah.
ever faced that problem, right? But I think it's particularly poignant for our audience because I think they're used to being able to be very directive about like, here's a problem, I'm going to solve it, or you're going to solve it. Here's how it's going to be solved. I think that's like typically how they're used to being able to understand that.
Yeah.
So I think like we've got a pretty interesting task of trying to make sure that we are solving for the spirit of the ask rather than the letter of the law. And I really admire our product team because it's a very hard balance to strike, especially when you have such passionate customers that you want to do right by, and that you want
Yeah.
to be able to build that trust. It's like you really need to spend the time to build the relationship, establish that trust, so that way when you deliver something that might be slightly different, they know that you did it with the intention of like it'll get this job done for you and it will deliver value for you.
Yeah. Wow. It sounds like the balance of that is not an easy one, where you kind of there's times when you want to like deliver it to them on a platter to be like, you're getting so much of this feedback that you want to nail it to a T. Um, ha- yeah, that's interesting. That's super
Yeah, and I would say
fascinating.
that it's something we're actively working on doing, right? And I think that's why the need to shift from like just like here's a list of features that we've developed and done over the past quarter towards like here's a broader story of like how and why. I think starting to make that change will make it a little bit easier to kind of like shepherd that transition through. But it's definitely like it's a fun place to be, and it's like a really fun problem to solve.
That's amazing. No, it's super cool. Yeah, I feel like we could go pretty deep on product roadmap, customers, kind of balancing like squeaky wheel versus the data versus what the vision of the team is. I think those are always fascinating. How much? I mean, how much do you at this point are you getting influence on that roadmap, or how do you kind of collaborate and kind of land with the product team on how that's looking and going to market? Or are you able to have
Yeah.
some say? Like,
Oh man, what a
how does
good
that kind of
question.
figure?
I know
Yeah.
I'm like my product counterparts listening to this right now. I think we're working on it. We're working on it. We're starting to actually no, we're doing a great job. We're starting to narrow in on how we establish like launch and announcement moments around industry events. Our industry, specifically commercial contractors, they love to meet up in person. So we have like a couple key tent poles event, like in ad tech, it's like Cannes is the big one, CES is the big one. Like we probably have one of those, maybe like two or three, like bookended on
Yep.
Q1 and Q4,
Yep.
and a couple sprinkled throughout. So it's like, how do we make sure that we're anchoring like very big and substantial launches like around those times? And then obviously, like how do we partner to make sure that our annual customer event like has a space where we are very clearly touting like the direct deliverable, not direct deliverable, the spirit of the deliverable from our customers in a way that drives overall impact. Yeah, and I think that we're starting to turn a corner and really being able. Sorry for all the notifications. We're starting to
Sorry.
turn the corner
So
on
popular.
being able, yeah, just
It's
like
authentic. It's authentic.
quote quote quote. We're starting to like really get there in terms of like making sure that we are one starting to own the space of like we are going to deliver like a solution that's not only going to solve the problem that the customers asked for, but bigger than that. We're starting, like I
Love
mentioned,
that.
our chief technology officer has this amazing vision that he's put together that we're starting to like get longer term horizon against to understand like how we get there from here to there. And I think that's really powerful. And then again, like just like the market timing and getting that muscle in place is starting to come together where we're really getting like bigger splashes as we have more substantial launches in market.
Awesome. Very cool. Nailed that. I love it. Really well said. We talked AI earlier. You gave some amazing advice just to like how to think about, prompting effectively and thinking about it. I love the sequel analogy and then painting the story and kind of directing the play. How else is it integrated into, what you all are doing, maybe on the
Yeah.
marketing team side or maybe on the product side? What does kind of the day to day look like for you guys or for you?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's definitely helping us work faster. I think it like obviously like there's like kind of like the very easy adoptions around like just meeting summaries or like
Yep.
like we've started to use it in a way where we are just free for brainstorming quarterly planning, and using that as like a transcript dump to like pull out and start moving faster with like broader level setting. And that's actually a place where it's super helpful, where it's like the ideas live in your head and you just need a way to organize and structure, and we're seeing that come to life. And obviously, there's so many ways where we've incorporated it in terms of just like light level lead scoring, or just like what is that? What is the tool? There's a tool we have on our website, part of our overall tech stack, and there's just so many ways where it's sprinkled throughout. Um, and I think that we are definitely embracing in a way where we want to try and vet, and validate before we commit. And I think that's like a good way to think about, even how we build things for our product, within our product for our customers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like being able to understand and identify like, hey, like here's something that we know we need to ship, but like what is the, again, going back, what is the most intentional way we can deliver value? Yeah. And then I think that for
Love
me,
that.
the biggest question that I have, I'm I'm curious. I'd love to connect with other people that are thinking about it in this perspective. Is like, especially for vertical SaaS, like how and when do you identify the best way to monetize against it versus fold it in as part of your core offering? And then what does that look like for an ICP that is also like maybe learning to embrace tech broadly, that might not be as accustomed to like, I don't know, like maybe there's some level of price sensitivity. And I think the other thing to think about is traditionally SaaS is cost per user seat. And if you're using AI right, like you probably might not need as many user seats. So how do you think about the right way to structure that, without cannibalizing yourself?
Yeah. Those are some really fascinating ones. And I think there could be an entire episode just on those topics alone. Um, I jumping to an interesting case that we observed. I thought, I don't know who your, project tool du jour is, but I thought, you know, from my perspective as a user and our teams implemented a lot of the Notion capabilities and their
Yeah.
AI adoption, I thought was pretty rapid and impressive, and interesting. And I think it's obviously very different for each SaaS, as you said, vertical SaaS. Um, if we've actually talked to some folks that are in your space around that are very heavy AI. We can talk about that more too. Um, but it's really quite wild what's happening. I think there's a lot of like fear clickbaity, like, oh, AI is gonna take out SaaS, and it's kind of like, and then there's kind of that flip side argument, and you're like, well, it's I don't know about that. I think the pricing piece is very interesting too. My team and I and what we've been talking about a lot for quite a while has been like the Slack kind of model, which I think is very interesting, like more of a usage based.
Yeah.
Um, I'm curious to know if that's interesting to you or not. Maybe not immediately, but um, kind of thinking, reading between the lines of what you were sharing earlier, and just thinking, dovetailing off what you shared.
Yeah, I think we want to make sure we're good stewards to our customers, right? Again, can I beat
Yeah,
the same drum any more times? But we want to make sure we're doing right to our customers first and foremost.
yeah,
And but we also need to evaluate like, are there like operational costs to spinning up multiple different types of AI tools? If so, like what does that look like? Um, so I don't know. I think the jury's still out, and I think ultimately we're again going back to that space of like, is it truly driving value? How can we understand the level of value it's
Yeah.
driving? Because
Yeah.
that's like to charge just to charge, like that's not right. But
Yeah.
I mean, clearly we've got to figure out an answer.
Yeah. No, totally. Totally. And as you said, if they're getting something tangible from that, then hey, that's something that they can justify, which we all understand.
Yeah.
Um, Erica, this has been amazing. You're coming in with some awesome thoughts and learnings and perspectives, which is exactly what this is all about. Um, for folks that don't know you as well, what's something that people might not know about you?
Yeah. Well, maybe I dropped a few hints of this, but I didn't go to school for marketing. Went to school for religious studies. And so that's why I'm always like, oh, how do I get back to that? I paid so much money for this degree. Like, how do I? And I think it's
That's
a
where,
cult. I'm
yeah,
kidding.
we're going back to the cult leader. It's
Yeah.
maybe you can incorporate Shrek and 90s hip
Oh, the
hop
Shrek, the
into
cult of
your,
90s Shrek.
yeah. I mean, it's the answer. It's easy.
Wow.
What's left to ponder?
Oh my
What are we
gosh.
doing on this pod?
Yeah, I don't know. Don't even need to test it.
No, it's already been solved.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You got any good book recommendations?
I just finished this book called, I reread this book called The Employees by Olga Ravin, I think Norwegian author. It's a really
Nice.
interesting, like fictional book. Have you heard of it?
I think
Um,
just from you.
uh, it's about like it's told in the story of like journal entries or almost like memos, and it's out of order, and you
Mm.
don't know who's written it, and it's journal entries from like people that work on a ship, and it
Oh
includes
wow.
both like people and AI, and you don't know who
Whoa.
is who. And
Whoa.
towards the end of the book, it becomes a little bit more obvious, but it's just
Whoa.
really interesting, and it was written, I think, I want to say it was like 2020, so it was before
Oh
AI
damn.
really really blew up, which is why I wanted to reread it.
Look at you.
It still holds up.
Have to check that out.
Yeah,
That
it's
sounds amazing.
definitely it's an interesting one for sure. It's a fast read. It's like again, like each page is like a new journal entry.
Yeah, that's one of the more interesting ones. I mean, we get a lot of like the nonfiction suggestions, but I
Yeah.
love that. That's super cool.
Yeah, I try
Um,
to find like fiction that like weirdly intersects with like what's happening at work because oh
yeah,
man, I love
I love that.
nonfiction. I wish I no, that's not true. I wish I loved nonfiction, but I'm like, this could be a podcast I listen to, or maybe a blog post I read really
I,
fast.
there you go. Yeah, it's like summarize it for me, make it easy, especially now. I feel
Yeah,
like that. I wonder if the fiction will get a little bit more interesting as people can consume the nonfiction stuff in easier ways or more readily ways. But
yeah,
um, Erica, it's been a pleasure. I am beyond appreciative for you coming on and having an amazing chat as always. For folks that want to find you and track you down, learn more, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
yeah. I think find me on LinkedIn. My DMs are open, and I got to plug. BuildOps is hiring, so come find us and find a spot.
Amazing. Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, everybody.